going inward and setting boundaries is very straightforward and easy for a self empowered woman with healthy self worth. This means you do not have drama. No twin flame drama, no soulmate drama, no relationship drama, not even a little bit of drama, because you don't use the hyper vigilant state and a default mode network that is scanning self and others. So my brain has secure attachment. Okay, so I'm an empowered woman and I'm a 5D mystic in the enlightenment soul age group. There's no laundry because I love emotions and I love my thoughts. And we do the inner growth mindset here. But I also channel guidance. And in fact, I have some of my lovely tarot. So we integrated all human, spiritual, and spirituality. True spirituality, it involves those of you who know how to live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. Loving yourself first is the only way you're going to ever know how to love another person. And that's your 0 1 year old, though. Okay, so let me repeat some things that we discussed in our late HP. The truth is that you in the womb already also have what I believe they called, I don't know if it's transgenerational trauma or cultural, I forget how they organize it, but the last 3 months in the fetus are impactful and important. Now, I am pseudoscience lady because I'm not in the research lab and I bring together spiritual and spirituality subject matters. And that is where I respect academia and I do my own self research stuff, like for the inner growth mindset, psychology, sociology, and existentialism. And I bring to you a subjective experience. Okay, so sometimes I think, isn't it straightforward for people that the actual quantitative data is in specific places? No. Okay, so while the entire superhero cape, which are all mantles, so they're mantles of yoga, mantles of mental health, mantles of anything, they go, and I'm an online marketer as well. So whenever something's like social media is the cause of disinformation, misinformation, not really, because I got taught that I have books that completely gave me misinformation, and I spent a lot of money on my master's degree. So when you disengage from thinking of reality as set in stone because you have an integrated brain and you know of people like, thank you, Lisa Feldman Barrett, in her lovely interview with the Well or Big Think, how she explains, people think reality is one way or another way. There's this whole debate going on. It's a lot more in depth than that. And what I love more than anything is that because I support people who want to be their self, I kept on doing my learning. And that's why I'm also attachment trauma informed. Okay, so for me, boundaries. I was a teenager. If you were love dependent or love avoidant, I didn't even notice because I'm not a needy 0 1 year old. I don't need to attach to you. So if you leave me alone, I'm happy because I'm going to go and continue having fun. Also, the Enlightenment Soul Age group, we have the path, some of us, of bliss and wisdom. Raise your hand if you love life. Oh, I love life always, not just sometimes. So when I have human suffering narrative people, I know when they're deciding, I'm done. I think of people as fucked up, men as fucked up, women as fucked up. They call themselves badasses as they're screaming up the top of their lungs with mantles all over the place. And you can't say something while somebody's pissed because their angry circuit is making them convinced of everything that they're doing. And usually a teenager, because they're a maladaptive child at that point, because they're reliving their karma, their unconscious. Now we all have karma. This is the part of where, because we're a whole big ball of energy, I know I'm integrating a little bit of the woo stuff. Bear with me. We're going to get back to the topic in a minute, okay? But long story short, I know that there's a balance. I talk about it in one of our audio episodes tomorrow on the podcast. And I try to remind myself to be thankful and appreciative of the people who are maintaining balances. But my inner heart says, but why? They can all choose to have heaven in the body. They can all choose good therapy. And then I don't have an answer except for, like Sadhguru shares, we're not here to affect states of consciousness. It's not our role. Difference is he's a spirituality guru, so he talks about it like, there's some, law that and he's not doing it on purpose. This is his tone. His tone and the way he shares it, it's like something bigger than us has decided that something has to stay. I think of it in this way because I move beyond the belief system arena and I say, wow, there is dark matter, dark energy, the cosmos, universe. So I can think of it that way, and I know how the cosmos people. I watch this. It's a bunch of different episodes on the universe and how our universe is supposedly going to end. So it makes sense for me. I have a relationship with energy. Again, I'm going to disengage from that part. It's all the way in the future. It doesn't even matter. But what I was trying to say is I want to express my gratitude and appreciation because there's a balancing scale, and that's where energy we have denser energy, not as much dense energy, if you will. And again, I'm not an expert in it at all in the way of explaining it. So I'm going to stop with that. And back to when you're empowered as a woman, you know how to connect to your inner child. You're an inner child adult, which is why you know how to set boundaries, which doesn't mean you get rid of Sid from your herd. No, you're a Pacha from Cusco land, and you have Sid and Diego and Manny and Cusco and squirrels, and you know how to be a person who uses a functional adult love language. And that's because the truth is you are your inner child adult. So your first 3 years of life, you got a handle on that container of your body, and the 3 to 7 and 8, and the 11, 12, and the 14, 15, 16. Those are charged parts. We all have them. I had them too. Mine are sleeping, and they come up every now and then, and I notice when they come up. That's because I got Kali, Shiva, and Krishna Lila. And Krishna Lila is when you're engaging in your prefrontal cortex and you're curious, open, accepting, and loving, present in the now. Thank you, Daniel Siegel, Sadhguru, all these people you can thank for the mixture of words. Don't use your dictionary. Don't use any of your textbooks. Listen and then ask questions because I'm the content creator and I'm supporting, empowering people, not the ones who don't know who they want to be, which is yourself. Use your name. And remember that, as Lisa points out, the brain is running a model of its body. So the first step is being able to know it. Was your home welcoming? Was your home uniting? Do you have rejection, abandonment, injustice, betrayal, or humiliation / shame wounds? You'll notice if you don't like men, women, days, and human beings. That's number one. I'm going to share with you that. And so I don't prefer to be around human suffering love narratives. I don't prefer being around people who aren't compassionate, but I would be around them without being judgmental because Jesus taught me how not to cast stones. And I learned about that I was doing it with the words good and bad. And then I said, well, the adults had to teach me something to keep me in, the arena of what is safe physically for me, not the subjective stuff. That was pretty straightforward. You want to feel feelings that way. I don't have to. You want to think of politicians that way. I don't have to. You want to think about men and women that way. I don't have to. You can think and feel whatever you want. I don't care about the fact is that if you tell me that the sky's purple, I might be okay with it, but somebody informed me that the colors are codes. And I was like, okay, fine. Codes, good to know. So anytime somebody tells me something, I'm going to remember there's some scientist somewhere who has a data point for it. And that's about it. I am not going to bother with anything else. Okay, so here's where Sadhguru, if you're keen on doing something about human suffering, attend to yourself first. So become your inner child adult. That's what we get to do here. I get to just share with you what it's like to never have lost my inner child. Thank you, Mom, and my twin, because I was born with spirituality in the forefront. See, I have a life of meaning and connection from the womb with my twin. She's an identical twin, so the same egg split in two. I'm just saying, always, yep, that's since the day I was born. I know about splinters and ruptures and never, ever, ever splinting or rupturing. I even got disowned at the age of 8, and I remember it because I got explained it and that I wasn't disowned. It was a lie, and I was like, oh, okay. Now you made my heart feel better. Thank you, Mom. And when it came up in my hypnotherapy session, because my hypnotherapy session was for what is the happiest childhood memory, it's my 3 years of age. Oh, it was an amazing session. And so I went all the way back, and then I started to notice myself moving from 3 years of age to 5 years of age, where I recalibrated to play better the game of life energetically. This is all energetic. I didn't have words yet. I began to have words by the age of 5, and I began to organize. I could feel it because my body was organizing. And then I got to 8 when I got disowned. And that's when my hypnotherapist said, okay, let's go and check out with God and Jesus. What's the deal? Why did this come into our, session? The deal was simply that I got to learn how we all play life differently. That was the deal. Okay, cool. I have a window welcome for emotions. And I mentioned that. So sadness is about connection, which is why it's not sad to be sad. Matt, I like to work with because there's no reason for me to correct you. I'm not you, and the event has already happened. So that's a waste of my time to get angry, and a waste of my energy space, and a waste of my brain, and a waste of a lot of things. So when you do love life and you do know yourself, you're like, yeah, and you're also guided to mind your own business and do you. It's good. Then you can tend to other people around you. So you love yourself first, which is where you can set healthy boundaries. Not going to be involved in your drama. Oh, I won't be compromising any of it. It's just a no. That's it. There's a wall. You're going to find a wall. So love dependent people, they don't like that. Love avoidance, as I was saying, we're happy. They leave us alone. We don't do anything about it. Okay, so again, Lisa Feldman Barrett. The brain is running a model of its body. And if I remember correctly, she's the one who shares that the mind keeps account. As Van der Kolk, the body keeps the score. So both are important. Your divine feminine, your divine masculine. And I know, people think twin flame, the twin flame stuff. Totally, yes, it's true. But for 5D mystics, it's not a saga or a drama. In fact, we don't need a coach to run us through anything because we don't have what is called limerence and rumination. When our clairs are activated, they're activated even before and around about it, and even with other oversoul members. So when you can work with shutting off thoughts, taking a look at the emotions, great. Now we have a person who's tending to the core of themselves. Okay, so with that being said, when you get home, it means, when your maladaptive child is out, you're not going to say men suck, women suck, humans suck, world sucks, everything sucks. You say, wow, I got some emotional stuff going on. Okay, so the human suffering love narrative, I'm appreciative and grateful for them. As I've been saying, I'm trying to make sure to remember to be appreciative of those who will maintain a denser energetic balance in their sympathetic, which means that they're not looking to become integrated brains. And so they're not looking to become kind, compassionate, to get out of a default mode network that is dysregulated because it's scanning self and the others from their 0, 1, 2, and 3 in a way of unsafety within their own body. And then they're going to project it outward, and they're going to continue to self sabotage without saying they're self sabotaging. They're just going to say, no, no, I don't self sabotage. Because here's the way the inner critic and outer critic works. I'm a piece of shit. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do anything. Okay, then there's, no, everybody else doesn't know how to do everything. And they flip and flop between this. That's dysregulation, dysfunctional, and you see it all over Cusco town. And you see the mantles of mental health, the mantles of yoga, the mantles of spirituality. They all come together and they charge like Braveheart with the same pain point. And that's, as I said, I want to be appreciative. Let me bow down again. Appreciate, because we all are part of the same energetic spectrum. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to work with people who want to be in the human love boat. Because human suffering, they've decided. It's like when you make your own grave, when somebody says, that's always going to be this way, Maria. So sorry. I'm going to hug you, and that's all I can do. But I'm going to be there for you. Okay? So we get to be there for each other. And we get to also know that those who have this core content, Dr. Daniel Fox, he's great. Go follow him if you would like to learn about how to support anyone with borderline personality, narcissism, whether it's covert, malignant, or overt, I think is the other word. He also supports highly sensitive people. I saw some of that. He talks about sociopathy and psychopathy, and he humanizes these beautiful individuals who can get healed. All people are beautiful for IHP. And I'm going to keep trying to blink. It's funny. So, side note, I'm so introception aware of my entire world that I don't blink my eyes when I'm looking at the screen because I can tell I'm shutting it. And I've noticed that makes my eyes work a lot more. So, they're now sensitive whenever it's called dry eyes, which, by the way, in Italian, it means when somebody gives you the bad luck eye. It's funny when I try to tell my Italian friends because they make jokes. They're like, aren't you a mystic? I'm like, yes, and there's no evil and good like that. Those are the spiritual bypass 4D people that keep on wanting to do, again, their default mode network. They're in pseudo aliveness. The amygdala is working. Their neuroplastic agent of imagination keeps on doing the same thing. They don't know about Patrick McNamara and the fear receptor, and they don't want to go and get support because they think that, yeah, we're going to leave that against the side. That's even more something for another episode. So, Dr. Daniel Fox, he shares core content That triggers the surface content, which is the maladaptive child behavior. It's guilt, shame, inferiority, doubt, and fear. So one of those can be what gets you to become reactive. And a person who knows about fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, injustice, when they're getting pissy, upset about betrayal, okay, and then shame, humiliation. So you'll notice these feelings because the words, they have a feeling. And if you're aware enough about yourself, like you'll be aware if you're numb, if there's numbness, and if there's a way that you're off with emotions, which is why in 2024, thank goodness, we have Patrick Tiahan. He's great for childhood trauma survivors. We have lovely Dr. Daniel Fox, Dr. Daniel Siegel. They're all great. Okay. And so, on that note, let me get one more thing that I wanted to share. Patrick, as he points out in today's post on his YouTube channel, the most damaging type of game players are the ones who don't know they're playing games. And he talks about how highly abusive and damaging people have a narrative that is so strong about you, about another person, or the world, that, or even about themselves, that they completely believe it. It's visceral and it's 100% accurate to them. So they continue to use their narrative, and that's where some of us can also add. That's what is even more damaging. So is the fact that those who don't take note to learn about how humans are made. So to me, as a securely attached, self-empowered woman, I am appreciative, and as a mystic in 5D, I'm appreciative of being attachment and trauma informed. I'm a Reiki master, and I'm a holistic, again, practitioner. Akashic record readings, tarot, all of this involves personal development done seriously for people who come for mentorship with me, besides the inner growth mindset. But what I was trying to get to is I am appreciative of having been able to get more educated, because what's damaging are the spiritual bypassers. What's damaging are the mantles of mental health. What's damaging are people who dehumanize people, like a narcissist who need people to know that they're not monsters. What's damaging is evil ignorance, like yoga brings demons out of you. So, disinformation, plenty of it everywhere and anywhere, not just because of social media. I got taught shit in school and I paid buttloads of money for it, and I feel really, really there. I'm angry. And it's not about perfectionism. It's actually about what I thought as I was being raised as a child, that the institutions would do what is right. The institution is based on social reality. Thank you, Lisa. Where are you? Social reality, which I learned about from a book that I read, Societal Construct. It's for sociology masters. And once I read that, I was like, what the fuck? So everything's a made up shit. Universal law of what? And no, don't go around disrespecting anyone. That's not what I mean. What I mean is that we decide together as a collective. So societal reality, social reality, yeah. And here's why: a person who's not flexible enough to understand that this is the case is a person who hasn't yet mastered what is in here. And I don't do anything with Cuscos and squirrels when it comes to the societal conversations, because I'm an empowered woman who doesn't want to waste my breath. In fact, I won't. I will consistently whenever, and it's only happened very few times, not even. The part is that when you have people who don't care to chit chat with you, they just want to make a point. They're not interested in chit chatting. They're trying to get you, that's the adaptive child, to take their side. And you say, no, I'm not. And the minute that you're letting them know you're a differentiated self and they're not liking it, they will actually disown you potentially, which is not something that an empowered woman's like, oh my God. It'll be, wow, that's childish in my head. I'll be thinking, I won't tell you because you're already pissed beyond a shadow of doubt for something that there's no reason for you to be pissed, because having different opinions is actually normal. And I'm laughing right now because that's exactly how it feels inside of me. As a teenager, I learned how not to laugh in the face of people because they all would do the same. I don't have an ego. I'm right. I'm right. No, you're not. Nobody's right about anything. Really, it's a bunch of different things that we get. So, long story short, that's why we have 3D, 4D as well. I'm not a flat earther. Like I said, there's organized ways that we can know what is a fact and objective. We are chit-chatting. And when you're doing personal development and self-help seriously, you're still chit-chatting. If you want a mathematical equation, then you go to the subject matter experts, and they're all in schools teaching. They're all not the independent. The independent ones are independent like I am. So they can present to you all the certificates of the world. They can tell you about their lineage, anything. If you're a Mahasamadhi Samadhi brain, is how I'm going to pose it. If you're an independent inner child, you're going to be like, yeah, keep talking, Cusco's. I'm listening to you, Pachas. Whoever you are, I'm still an independent person. I'm listening to you. That's it. That doesn't mean I'm taking in what you're saying as if it were a truth. And the people who don't like it the most, well, they're not going to like people who are confident, like the teenagers, as they will feel that you are taking in the information but not embodying it, and they want you to mesh. So they want you to be a part of their herd. Those are low self-esteem people. Okay, so let's move forward with our topic. As I wanted to share, damaging to me are the ignorant human beings who don't know enough about all of the personality disorders. And at some point, they will be changing that word from disorder to something different, because what these studies are showing is that for childhood developmental trauma, the brain is impacted. And that's where yoga comes in, and mindfulness meditation. It supports your brain because it supports your mind, you, to learn how to contain what is in the body and to shut the left mode up and stop it from recurringly telling a narrative that is going to be maladaptive. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do right now for this one. And empowered women, securely attached, empowered women love themselves first. Don't bring me drama. I will let you know in whatever best way possible that I'm not interested in participating. I will do my best to be as respectful as I can, because I got taught how to respect another life. I'm different. You're different. I'm stupid. I'm not going to call you stupid. As a teenager, I got frustrated with stupidity just as much as anybody else, because that's when you have this black and white thinking. That's when you say never, never, ever, ever, forever. Here's where people say, wow, you've changed. This is the most ridiculous sentence that I've ever heard, because I'm more of myself as a person who never got separated from my restorative embodiment, self-aware. I'm Maria. I was a 1-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, participating consciously. I am presence. I am consciousness. My left and right, they stayed friends. My brain's not my enemy, nor is my body. My body protects me. My body protects me from you and anyone, and not in a way of saying humans are unsafe or the world is unsafe. No. I was 18 when I was like, nobody can guarantee safety. This is the one thing that you will not ever have. And so for as much as you can plan, because I would plan 99.99999%. I remember I would do this thing as I was planning for college and my future and all of these. And so with my brain, which wasn't fully developed yet, because our executive decision making functions for women biologically, physically, 25 is when they're fully developed. And so your brain is what is picking up on the surrounding environment. And people don't learn about what it means to be human. And they want to say life sucks, humans suck, people suck. So again, what I find damaging are the ignorant human beings and the mantles of mental health and the mantles of yoga and the mantles of spirituality and the mantles of everything. I even consider them in my book hypocrites, but that's another story. In the meantime, for IHP, we inspire human potential. We come together to build 5D relationships, Christ consciousness. I love Jesus. It makes me sad that with clairs and with tarot and Akashic records and Reiki, that I am not seen in a light of love by some people. But I understand, which is why I would never impose my presence upon any human being who finds me, quote unquote, scary. I would also, if I were a person who knew that, would not invite a person to be around people who find that person scary, which I have some people that are in my life, and I know I'm their weird friend. So I have been the one who consistently says, I'm pretty sure I'm not welcome with your friends. So how about we just hang out, us, when we want, and leave me out of your social engagement stuff, so that I avoid meeting people who don't want to be around me, because, social time is to be having fun. Like social media, you want to enjoy, resonate with the content. When I see individuals, for example, who are leaving comments on YouTube channels, now as an online marketer, I can spot a troll typically, but it doesn't matter if it's troll because there's an opportunity to respond in a way that shows your community you care. So any type of comment is always something that you can respond to effectively. It's functional adult love language. And what I have seen is that people, that these are Cuscos, right? This is where the 3-year-old has to share the floor. They want self bridled expression. I have to, I'm reactive, I'm spitting out whatever comes to my mind. I'm not even taking 1 minute to think about what I'm doing. And that's where the human suffering love narrative, they will continue to stay reactive because they disregard that their maladaptive child behavior is aggressive and unnecessarily exaggerated. Okay, so split thinking, black and white thinking, all of those that have the personality disorders, again, they're not disorders. You will notice that those people did not have welcoming, safe homes, and it's something that varies because anytime there's yelling in a home, that infant's body can be reacting. There's a lot of variables, and people don't know that. It's okay. The truth is, every person is a child inside, and what we love are the inner children who want to become their inner child adult. And so we support people who heal and bring love and kindness, and then we support those who also are suffering. We just don't play drama, and we don't judge them and cast a stone about it either because there's laws for safety, there's police for safety, and we keep working with the institutions to improve them, like academia, not get rid of it. That's what's going to keep happening. I know there are people who think that something can get dismantled in such a way. I'm a political science major and I have a master's in international relations and diplomacy, but I'm also an objective human being, and the echo chambers of the 3D, 4D can keep on doing what they're doing. It's subjective reality. And seriously, the same way I don't watch the news because I've chosen to discard the titles of what bleeds leads, okay? I live every day in a different energy than those who instead watch that mass media. But I don't go around saying they're brainwashing them, they're keeping them under control. Brainwashing can always happen. There's people who say brainwash yourself. So the people use words like that. I find it, again, objectifying. Your brain is yours, not somebody else's. If you don't know how to own it, you don't know how to notice your emotions and thoughts. To me, it's common sense. That's all it is. Decent human right here. To me, it's always been common sense. Now I know how to better say, okay, when we got a Cusco in town, we're going to want to listen to their violin because that's all they want. They just want to be heard. Like when they go on YouTube and they're criticizing something. I love my naysayer, IHP naysayer. He gave me good feedback. Pseudoscience bullshit, self help crap. It's not bullshit or crap for people who do it seriously. And in fact, it's not bullshit or crap for people who know I got a heart and others have a heart, and I get informed and I know nobody is an evil anything except for Michael Stone's scale, if you will, but not according to ancient demonic textbooks, because we don't need to dehumanize a person with the attachment and trauma information. Neuroscience, neurobiology, these are academics. They're studying, they're still in the research lab. So again, flat earthers, I have nothing against them except for they're using their brain to try and prove something. The people who want to, do other stuff. So anyways, I'm going to leave that all to the side because, again, we're a collective. Let me remember to be appreciative for the ones who don't keep moving forward on their spirituality journey, because they don't. The minute you ignore your inner world and you consistently are vibing in a nervous system that is in your sympathetic, you haven't tended. It's not always on, but don't take my words as lists of anything, by the way, because I don't do things this way. I give you a concept. It's food for thought. It's a figure of speech. It's ways to embody, and I'll probably keep saying this stuff when we're doing personal development one-on-one. That's going to be something different. If you take the courses, that's another thing. There's main modules for free on the website. If you ask Maria, the opinionated columnist, I'm giving you opinionated columnist advice, like a Dear Abby letter. And it's very much like this, because at the end of the day, IHP is for people who are taking ownership of their life. They're not asking somebody to tell them how to do emotions and thoughts. They're doing emotions and thoughts. And for people who instead want an ethical cult, culty cult, traditional cult, so they need a silverback, that's the wolves over the eyes. Person who's not noticing their inner child, and they're not noticing people that can help them get home to themselves, and they're Their temperament and drivers are different. Because, see, this is the part. There's three different main drivers I learned from Daniel Siegel that will motivate you and I as human being bodies, embodied brains. We have all three. He talks about self agency, bonding, and certainty. But if you have a heightened motivation by certainty, means you're afraid of life by yourself. So you're going to be motivated to be with people all the time. Bonding means you find motivation by meaning something to somebody else. So if you're solo, you will find emptiness more easily than not. And then for self agency, instead, you are motivated to be that self. And again, we have the three, but one will dominate, and you'll notice things of yourself. And there's a PHP, I think, besides the adult attachment interview. I think it's a PHP questionnaire of some sort to take a look. And that's a side note. But okay, we're going to close this episode out so I can do another one. And as I was trying to get to, those of us who are inner child adults, we go inward, we know boundaries easily, so we don't partake in drama. We don't go lecture somebody who's a Pinocchio with ears and a tail. They can be on the island with the donkeys, because really, go watch a movie, Hangover. It's all adrenaline. It's all this idea of badass, but really, it's also just the biochemistry. So whatever you are consuming, it's not about the alcohol. I drink. I smoke cigars. I used to smoke cigarettes. I don't and never have done drugs, and I have no interest in them whatsoever. And that's because my brain would not want any of that. And it's funny when you meet adults who actually still tease you, like teenagers did, and then young adults, and they think that that stuff is fun somehow. I'm thinking, even when I have moderately drinking, I get quote unquote harassed by the people who love me, because that's fair and square. They love me. Keep your liver clean. Get old with a healthy body. So everything in moderation. That's grown up from my world who consistently will tell me this. And you are always going to be appreciative of people who care about you. So the part about people being in our business, we know why. Sid, Manny, Diego, Pat, Chacusco, we're herd. We're a human herd. And so moderation is actually the land of truth for any grown up. We know that it doesn't have to be one extreme or another extreme, but we're also common sense. We're all creatures of habit. And so habit means 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. So I'm going to point out things so that you can keep in mind. And again, we calibrate each other in an effort to support each other. The people who feel that another person is imposing themselves is a person who doesn't know how to say no, who doesn't feel that they're their owner yet, so they don't know healthy boundaries, which is why they feel very upset, like a teenager who's being told what to do. And in fact, this is the part, my unfinished business. I don't have unfinished business. I get to deal with my 3-year old and 16-year-old with my mother and my twin, the people that I was that age with, which is why the physical mastery for those of us who don't have a unfinished business that we're bringing outside of the home, we get to keep on expanding within a home. And that's because I got lucky, and others can get lucky. Others might not be lucky, but they are lucky because they can have us. And that's where IHP is here for supporting also those who get the good therapy. They need people who are healthy self-worth. They don't need somebody who's a martyr superior who's going to go tell them what to do with their maladaptive child behavior in a way of lecturing them. Because that's what it's going to feel like when you need to do this. There's a difference with me informing and sharing information with you than me actually telling you what I think you have to do. And you'll notice it. I've had this happen to me. The blamers, they just say, you weren't there for me the way I wanted you to be there for me. You're a bad friend. Okay, so sorry. I'm pretty sure I won't be able to be there the same again next time, because I know how my brain works. Are we going to stay friends? How do we want to handle it? Good? Okay. So this is where blamers have figured out I can't do what they want me to do, because I've spelled it out. I can't. And I won't. The ones who get pissy or got pissy, nope, you're not my friend. Okay, I'm sorry, but thank you. I'm appreciative. You keep moving forward. The healthy self-worth person doesn't insult people from our life. It may sound to others who don't understand what it means to be equanimous, and I've seen them. They think, always in the duality spectrum. A person who doesn't grow up to be an empowered woman, man, or they continue to cast stones. I don't cast stones. I have preferences. I have opinions. I can be selective. I have an energy, but it's a healthy self-worth boundary. So the difference is when you know what healthy self-worth means, you'll know how to sit here, be comfortable, no shame, no guilt, no pressure, no societal pressure whatsoever. Because I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. And see, I got to get taught that by my lovely mother. You are a child, go out and play. You don't owe me anything. I didn't sacrifice my life. I chose to have you. Go play and have fun. Nope, there's no problem here with money. Don't you worry. Go have fun. Do your money, take your money, have it for yourself. Okay? So, this is a child centric environment. You're raising a child to become an adult once they're an adult. And when they're an adult, you still treat them like a child because they're your child forever and ever, which I love to death. But remember, my household is a Neapolitan one. So the Southern Italians, they are really, some is not healthy at all. I'm going to admit it. But the one thing is they're always going to support each other. And that's important. As I was saying, the ones who didn't get lucky, they need a good network. They need the people who won't be shaming them. So the martyr superior, here's how it works. I always listen to what you do, what you tell me. Why don't you listen to when I tell you what to do? I never told you what to do. I gave you suggestions because you specifically asked me for specific ways to handle something. This is the only reason I came and come. And I didn't ask you for any of this. So I don't have to do it. I thank you for sharing it with me. I don't have to do it. Okay? And that is where a conversation will usually come up when you meet an empowered woman, man, or they. When you meet a person who doesn't know how to communicate, you're going to meet something different. And that's the minute that there is not only projection, but that those individuals, because they won't be wanting to be around you, they cut. And that's the not necessarily cancel culture or blocking or any of that, but it's where there's a clear cut because you don't satisfy something. So when someone goes rigid or chaotic and they just cut you out, that's a maladaptive child behavior. They have low emotional tolerance and they have a right to, right? So again, we don't owe each other anything, which is also why when somebody says, I forgave the betrayers, I forgave when my whoever it is betrayed me, cheated, lied, da 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 da. Yeah, and I forgave myself for allowing myself to put up with it. What do you want, a star? It's like hanging fruit. That's a manipulative. What is that? So whenever somebody uses that word in that way, you'll notice, and that's definitely a betrayal wound. You haven't healed anything. You're still wanting people. Oh, you're right. Oh, you. So forgiveness is not because you're gonna owe me something. It's thank you, Daniel Siegel. Something's happened already. There's nothing to forgive. It's done. We're moving forward. We talk, we clear the air, we keep moving. I don't make you out to be a pattern. You'll show me who you are in time, and if you are a pattern, then I'll notice it. Teenage boyfriend, his pattern, but we were kids. That's the part to me. Teenager is a kid. You're not a grown up. You're a kid until at least the age of 30. Your brain isn't even fully developed yet. So, therefore, you're not going to be, in my book, emotionally accountable completely. You will begin to be mentally and emotionally accountable, of course, of how you're treating me and of how you're going to come in and out or not. But that's something that we can always handle with words. And that's why nobody shame, blames, faults, or revenges. When nobody hangs some fruit over, oh, I forgave you for all the times you lied to me. I called you all these times. Anybody who gives you a list, they're maladaptive child behavior. It's a teenager ruling the world of that 3-year-old who wants to get out and the 1-year-old, and they're not going to get therapy. And they're bringing to you their surface content. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Fox. While their core content, which is involving everything from, again, shame, to guilt, to insecurity, their pain point, and their suffering, and nobody's going home with their prefrontal cortex to work with that. They're bringing it to you, and that's why the codependent relationships, they can manage to make their relationship look like it works. And here's where the human suffering love narrative, they're going to keep on doing that blend of energies because it's an active blend of people between love dependence and love avoidance. The good type get good therapists like Terry Real, and then they support each other to grow up. And they can learn how to have healthy self-worth. And that's a balanced energy couple right there. and they can be of all genders and monoamory, polyamory. It's indifferent what that is, but there can be a healthy, empowered couple because of knowing how to get in touch with the inner world, your inner child adult, move into the present, use that body and the mind together, and set healthy boundaries, which means to regulate your nervous system, become safe haven, secure base. Again, come on over for self help, personal development, and to be supportive to those who also want to move into their own secure attachment. 5D mystics, not mystics. Again, every now and then I'm going to integrate all this stuff, and I think we'll have some channel guidance at some point again. Thank you for stopping by. Like, share, subscribe. And if you have curiosity questions, let me know. If you have a specific question for yourself at the moment, Ask Maria is available only on the audio version. And that would be where you find me on Spotify. Spotify for podcasters is the link that I have. When we get to 1K on YouTube, we'll have a membership with that as the first membership option. You can join and you submit your questions, they get answered, and they stay online for the community of members. Okay, so thank you again and have a great day.